Who will meet Blackrock in the final? Will it be Glen Rovers or will it be Erins' own? Glen Rovers getting straight to the semi-final from the group stages. Erins' own surprised the hurling world, I think it's fair to say, by beating Sarsfields in the last round. I'm joined by Ronan Curran and Shawnee McGrath for this one. Shawnee, what are you expecting from this game?
I can barely hear you anyway. First I've seen with the announcer coming out at the wrong time. Look, I suppose on paper and on form and over the last couple of years, based on their form, Glen Rovers are probably, you could nearly say, raging hot favourites. But I don't know, like I think Erins' own, the last day against Sars, they went in with the underdog tag and they came through. They're dogged. They've kind of, I suppose, their aggregate so far is -1, which is more or less 0 really, you could say. So they're a kind of combative team. They draw you into a bit of a dogfight. In the kind of table thing, they won one, lost one, and they drew one. But their win the last, they will give them huge confidence, and they've got some real stalwarts, none more so than the two Murphys, Owen and Kieran Murphy, the Bear and the Hero. They're known down here, and they've been fantastic service, and they'll rise to the challenge again tonight. And in these big games, it could be decided by a free taker, a 65. In the first game, Alan Connolly got a great free to draw the game for Blackrock, and there's two probably of the best club free takers on show tonight with Patrick Horgan and Owen Murphy for Erins' own. So it promises to be a very, very good game. As I said, on paper the Glen are favourites, but I think Erins' own will really put up to them and give them a right challenge.
Yeah, it'll be quite a final no matter who gets into it, Blackrock or I should say Glen Rovers or Erins' own. Blackrock awaiting in that final. Ronan Curran, we've mentioned that Glen Rovers went straight to the semi-final, which means that they didn't get a quarter-final. Is that a big disadvantage or does it have any effect?
Yeah, I think it will be a disadvantage to the Glen, really, to be fair, because especially the way things are at the moment and trying to get friendlies and stuff like that, it's very tough. And I think the Glen maybe played Kerry during the week or something like that, and you just don't know. I think the Kerry County finals, and you just don't know the quality of that challenge. And it's all about getting up to the pace of the championship and the pace of the game, and really Erins' own will be up to it after a game against Sars. A great win, which, as Shawnee said, will bring loads of confidence, whereas the Glen are just kind of guessing. Like they say, training's going well. I was talking to one or two of them during the week, and they're happy the way things are going. You still just don't know until you're up to the championship pace.
Well, let's check out the team, starting with Erins' own, and well, they've got some old stagers in that team and some youngsters as well. The likes of is very important tonight, Shawnee, given the pace that he can inject when Erins' own need it.
Yeah, he's been very impressive at times as well for Cork over the last couple of years. Probably hasn't stamped his position there yet, but he's a player. Look, you have to like him. He's big and strong and tall, and he's got a great burst of pace. So far to date, he's playing reasonably well. I think he's got about 1.8 or 1.9 in championship so far. So he's kind of one of those 3-4 point a game player, so tonight he'll have to kind of get a return like that, and then they have other players as well. I suppose, as I mentioned, the Murphys. Colm Cokie is a good player. He always chips in with the odd score. Mossy O'Carroll is around for a long time, but yeah, you're right. Owen Murphy will chip in with 9 or 10 frees, and they'll have to get a return of 3 or 4 at least from Robbie O'Flynn.
Well, let's have a look at the Glen Rovers team. Some very familiar names on this team. Stephen McDonald, who missed the first game against St Finbarrs due to injury, obviously starts this evening. Patrick Horgan is the man they look to as well, number 11. Not just one of the best forwards in Cork, but one of the best forwards in the country. And I'll tell you what, if there's any club that knows good forwards, it's Glen Rovers.
Yeah, it's true. Look, he's been sensational, especially, and I like the thing with him, he's nearly got better with age. Fantastic hurler, and a fella you just have to have a plan in place. To mark him. Same with Stephen McDonald. It's good to see him back, and maybe that'll be the difference today. Stephen might go on Robbie O'Flynn. He's that kind of man marker that might keep him out of the game. You wouldn't know. Do Erins' own have someone to mark Hoggy? Very hard. And if
does anyone have someone to mark?
That's the thing, and I suppose you have to really have a plan in place to mark someone as good as Hoggy. And does that take 2 men away, and then there's a bit of space come available for the other players, and when they chip in, and then they get on a roll. I suppose that's the thing with the Glen. Don't overfeed Hoggy too much at the start, and maybe the space opens up for the rest of them.
Let's talk about Luke Horgan, no relation to Pa, the Horgan brothers, who aren't related, as we'll call them. How important is he? He's young, but he looks fast. And if Pa Horgan is double marked, then Luke Horgan might be the one to pick up the brakes and snipe over a few points. Yeah,
look, I suppose he's a young player, and we all know what it's like coming in as a young player, like the expectation levels and all that. But look, I suppose what the Glen have tried to do over the last couple of months really is just temper his sort of expectations, that he might go into a game thinking I have to score 3 or 4 points. But look, I know Richie Keller quite well, and Richie will be instilling in him that what I want out of you first of all, Luke, is work rate. Stay in the game, keep focused, don't let your head drop, and against the Bars, he got 2 very good points in the first half. His game really is taking fellas on. He got 1 point in particular where he ran 20 or 30 yards and finished well. But, you can put too much pressure on young players. I think fellas around him, like Patrick and Conor Doris, fellas like that, Simon Kennefick, who's having a great season, they'll take the pressure off him a bit. And if Luke can chip in with 1 or 2, work really, really hard, come back around midfield and help his other players around. He plays at minor level kind of around midfield. He actually played underage as centre back, so he can play in a multitude of different positions, but not have too many high expectations of himself. Work hard, put in a good shift and come in with 1 or 2 points.
The pressure is on Glen Rovers tonight, Ronan, isn't it? And that's an advantage for Erins Own because no one expects them to win, just like the last night.
Yeah, just like the last night, and really from the start of the year, Erins Own, I suppose there was a small kind of feeling that they were kind of on the way back, like with maybe a few of the older players they have on the team kind of pushing on that small little bit, and they've blood in a few players there, and especially in the back, the centre back there, James O'Flynn and Cormac Dooley, and they seem very good players, and it's really added a bit of bite to the Erins Own team, and they've nothing to lose. They're going out as underdogs. Great win the last, and when you get on a bit of a run, but you got to take your scores at the start here. If you're them, you can't be dominating, and you think they might get a better start with that quarter final, but you got to take your scores straight away.
One thing we have tonight that we didn't have the last night that we were here for Erins Own was a crowd, and that's it does play a part. It's a small part, but it does play a part, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I suppose especially. Well, okay, that's not the right thing to say maybe, but for a forward, I suppose, obviously clearing the ball from defence is great, but if a forward gets a great score and he hears the cheer behind his back, the heroes can stand up and they can give another lift, so it plays somewhat of an impact, but it's still a semi-final and they just play for it.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at the players as they get ready for this semi-final between Glen Rovers. Before that, we've Aaron Levine. A moment's silence for Jimmy O'Rourke, who served this venue, both new and old, over the many years so well. Erins Own taking on Glen Rovers in the Co-op Cork Senior Hurling Championship semi-final. Blackrock awaiting the winners. Sean Daly is watching us across the border in Waterford this evening. He actually played for Erins Own in 04 and 05. A good ball-winning forward. So here we go, just looking around for any late changes. Can't spot any so far. How important is a good start for Erins Own here, given that they are the underdogs?
Yeah, Ronan is right. I mean, they got to take the early chances. They got to stay in the game. They can't let the Glen build up a 7, 8, 9, 10 point lead. Okay, obviously when you look at earlier in the year, you'd say like when they were 10 points down against Blackrock, they came back into the game. But I think tonight Ronan is right. They need to start fast and get early scores on the board.
Ball in, game on. Both teams in the jerseys you would expect them to wear this evening. Mossy O'Carroll floats it in. It's cut out very well. And away it goes. On the chase after it is Pa Horgan. Just beats him, and getting a flick to it there was James O'Flynn, but giving away the line ball.
That's always an interesting one to see when Hoggy goes in centre forward, just to see if someone comes into man mark him or the centre back stays there, and you see James O'Flynn is staying on him there, which it kind of changes the game for a centre back, that he might have to follow Hoggy. Obviously has to follow Hoggy, and then does that open up gaps elsewhere?
It's already very obvious that Erins Own have that sweeper. It looks like, as Ronan has said, James O'Flynn. That's a long shot from Conor Doris, and it's well collected by Shea Bowen, who's been around for a long time. Now, they won ball very well in the last game against Sarsfield's Erins Own, and they've done it again here. Mossy O'Carroll. Nice little show of the feet there from Sean Kelly. Doesn't get enough on the shot, but it is going to drop. I was about to say well taken by Bowen. Does get it on the second attempt and gets something out of the attack, or does he? No, he doesn't. That's a really bad wide, isn't it?
Yeah, and we just spoken seconds earlier about the importance of taking your scores. A great ball in from Sean. He might have half missed it, but well taken down by he did the hard work actually. Did Alan? He'd be very disappointed with that one. He really should have scored. Yeah,
and that's one that would settle the nerves for him as well, and if you get 1 point on the score on the board as a corner forward straight away, the gander's up.
Bit of trouble taking it up in the centre, but eventually it is gathered. Now do the Glen Rovers forward line have the pace? Kennefic tries to float one in behind, but they have the numbers back there in zone. James O'Flynn, and he sends it long. That's a fantastic and brave catch by the fullback David Dooling. Taken up by Luke Horgan, but then they lose it again, and O'Flynn, who's already handled a lot of ball and hurled a lot of ball, shovels it out to Coakley. It's 2-on-2 inside, but there's a little bit too much on that one. That's a backs ball all day long. Dooling. Erins Own using their strength to win the ball back. Coakley went in for it, has lost out on it. Now it's Robert Downey, who's won 2 Fitzgibbon Cup titles with UCC in the last couple of years. Pa Horgan looking for the first score of the game. Drops to Bowen.
There's 2 they've dropped short now, one from Patrick and one from Connor. So like the Glen, like Erins Own would like to settle as well and get a bit of score on the board and get a bit of purpose, because at the moment it's a little bit scrappy.
This is a repeat, of course, of the 2016 final. Glen Rovers winning it by a couple of points. Both teams looking for the first score here. It's Robbie O'Flynn, the Cork forward that we spoke about before the game.
Yeah, you notice straight away there in the game there's an awful lot of long ball going into the full forward line. A bit more traditional style, especially from Erins Own. I suppose they've big men in there in Owen Murphy, and a good battle down here now between Ciara Murphy and Downey. That'll be very interesting to watch for today.
Cathal Hickey, another long-term servant in this Glen Rovers team. He's been around since about 2010. But it's James O'Flynn again. Gets it inside to Robbie.
That's what he likes.
That's a surging, powerful run. Gets his shot away. 2 wides already. But for now, they will avoid 3.
Good point, yeah. Going. It was just remarking about James O'Flynn. The last time that Glen played, he was a forward, but he made a point before the game. I hope well he's been playing so far, and he's been the dominant player so far at centre back.
Yeah, he's playing really well, and it's very important for a centre back to get on a few balls at the start, because it won't happen with Hoggy, but usually the centre forward starts following you a small bit more rather than you following the centre forward. That won't happen here, but it's great for his confidence to get on a few balls and set up a great score.
Adam O'Donovan got the ball away to Horgan. Horgan's trying to get it up into the hand. There was a chop down and a free in, which Horgan will really fancy.
He will, but that's the second time I've noticed now Adam O'Donovan could have been called for a free, but Simon Stokes has left to go, and in the first game as well Joe Larkin left to go, so maybe that's a trend we've been hoping for a number of years here in Cork, that referees will let the game go a bit, so it's nice to see that he's letting play develop, and obviously that had to be pulled for free because it was a chop.
Anytime they hear the hurl, we could hear it up there. It's always going to be
that
given.
has happened an awful lot, hasn't it, that referees have let it go. That's obviously a diktat from the county board to the referees this year.
Seems to be a bit of it going on, all right, yeah, and it was a big problem in Cork, and still is, like, and especially, like, we might have been okay with it in a few years, but the county players seem to get all the calls, really, to be fair, and they're the fellas who don't need to be blown, like, because they're going to get it hot and heavy when it comes down the line. So it's good to see the game flow.
I did notice it in the first game that the Irish Examiner streamed a couple of months ago, and it was Kieran O'Regan who was refereeing it, of course, former colleague of mine from the world of journalism, but he hurled inter-county as well for Longford. Ball in over the top. Glen Rovers have plenty of numbers back, trying to hoover it up there with Stephen MacDonald, but he let it slip. Can Owen Murphy take it up? Luckily for Glen Rovers, Brian Moylan, the captain, reacted well.
Yeah, Brian's been doing that for a number of years now. He's been a fantastic servant.
Yeah, he'll mop up all day. He'll mop up all day. To be fair, he's great at the back.
Luke Horgan was very smart there. He didn't win the possession, but he knew that he could break it to his teammate David Noonan. Coming over to sweep is Stephen Cronin. Inside it goes to James O'Carroll. That is an epic catch.
Yeah. Stephen MacDonald started very well there, lads. Great for the confidence. Good sign for Cork too.
It might be a small crowd, but it is a loud one. Erins' own pickpocketing Glen Rovers. Robbie O'Flynn, rather than shooting, gives it to Coakley. Coakley being pressed out by David Noonan. Does get a ball into the forward line, and it looked like there was a foul on Bowen, but no, the referee has given it the other way.
Could have went either way there, I don't know.
Yeah.
Forward usually gets those ones.
And I thought it was a free earlier as well to the Glen player coming out, so maybe he's just returning the favour because that was innocuous enough looking.
It's a slow start to the game, really. There's been nothing really going on, especially compared to the first game that was here.
Yeah, there's no real ferocity of scoring here. It's only a point each, which is 2 scores after 6.5 minutes. So, but that's kind of what Erins' own do, isn't it? They kind of dry into a dogfight and they keep it nice and tight. And they're doing fine. They're having the better of the exchanges at the moment, to be honest.
Chased back by David Dooling.
Well done.
Robbed by Bowen. Bowen
touch.
Just about keeps it on the stick. They're in here. It's
Hold
O'Carroll. O'Carroll! What a finish!
Yeah, brilliant finish, to be fair, but Owen Murphy did great there. Some fellas wouldn't have seen that pass and running off the shoulder. Gave it fast, very unselfish, and a great goal by Massey. Massey's been good, as Massey O'Carroll did. He's been good for years for him, and another great goal there.
Got a goal against Glen Rovers in the county final of 2016, if memory serves, but that wasn't their day. They'll hope that this will help kick them on to something better.
Yeah, and like Ronan is right, say the vision of Owen Murphy. Like Owen Murphy, when it comes to kind of Cork, he's had a Cork senior career, but when it comes to club hurling, like if you go back and you Google, say, the top scorers in the Cork County Championship, Owen Murphy ranks in the top 10, I think. The last time the Glen played, or the last time, in that county final in 2016, Owen Murphy was the 4th highest scorer in the championship, and already this year so far, I think he's the 6th. So his scoring return is absolutely phenomenal, and when he's not scoring, like Ronan said, his vision to offload it, no selfishness, play the best player in the better position, and he's been a fantastic.
Yeah, he's a brilliant striker of the ball. That's the thing with him. He can score from anywhere, to be fair. Sometimes people maybe think he's a bit selfish at times, but he's a great strike off the ball. And it's as we said, lads, Erins' own needed. We're going to get a good start and just take the scores, and they've had a good start there.
19 goals and 424 points coming into tonight for Owen Murphy.
Yeah,
that'll tell you. That's from Wikipedia, but
I
imagine it's not far off if it's not the.
Trust me, I was using Wikipedia earlier. Oisin, I wouldn't be able to reel off some of them.
There's an asterisk over every stat that you and I give out, and Ronan gives out. Yeah.
Do freeze count.
Yeah, how many from play, Oisin? I've got that at hand.
We'll just move on there, lads. The stats you get during the game, they're absolutely solid because they're not done by either of the three of us. That's a good shot from out the field.
That's right.
And over it goes, and it's the one and only Pa Horgan.
And that's the thing there, Huggy just gets onto a ball or two in centre forward, centre back has to get tight in him, and it causes havoc in the defence if you don't have a plan for it.
If we're to believe my Wikipedia page, 541 points now for Pa Horgan in Cork Championship hurling, and 21 goals as well. That's all, yeah. What was your number?
Oh, a lot smaller than
you
that.
were the kind of guy who kept count. Don't tell me you didn't. Erins' own again, just making themselves really hard to beat in the middle of the park there, and Robbie O'Flynn picks it up. It's long direct ball again. Doesn't quite fall the way of Erins' own. It's a good catch by Dooley. That's very solid full back play.
Yeah, I know Alan Bowen slipped a little bit just beforehand, but Ronan said it earlier, they're very, very direct. They're hitting the full forward line as quickly as possible. Do they see weakness in there? I don't know, but they're definitely not dilly-dallying. They're getting it in quickly. Here we go again.
Stephen Cronin delivering it in to Alan Bowen.
Yeah, they're giving a lot of ball in. But they have another lad there on the bench who was on the Cork panel a few years ago, Mark Collins. Now I don't know, is he injured or what? I think he came on in the last game. He was on the Cork panel a few years ago. Great hand at him, and if you're giving him a long ball, I think he's around 6'6". Like, you'd be wondering, like, is he worth a run at some stage as well? Like, you know, might suit him. Another thing on the side there, Shane Murphy doesn't seem to be playing. There was rumours going around that he did his cruciate during the week, so he'd be a very big loss for Erins as well. Great warrior for him.
Trying to run on to this one is Conor Doris, and the free goes the other way.
Yeah, that was a good call. Doris is doing a bit of holding.
Erins Own looking to reach a 6th county final. They've won 3. Glen Rovers got to the final last year, unfortunately for them, beaten by Immokeely. Of course, Immokeely beaten earlier in the championship. Moylan clears it. Swept up by Sean Kelly.
He read that very well.
Kelly long and down the wing.
Ball. Great battle between the two lads there.
Yeah, already it started, yeah.
David Noonan, who
Downey
was in
really
Boston before the
done-
championship, came back to play for Glen Rovers. Erins Own again winning it in the middle. This is what they did very well the last day as well. Sean Kelly launching it. Sean Kelly hits it wide.
Downey really has turned into a very strong player, and you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, over the last year, you see a massive difference in him. You know, he'll be
Yeah.
a big player for Cork going forward.
And just going back, like, without harbouring the point, but again, like Ronan said at the start, they need to score. That's their 3rd wide already, like. So they need to be a small bit more economical than that. And Sean Kelly maybe would be better off in that instance. If it's outside your range, maybe just to pump it in and test that full back line, test that Glen full back line.
Well, we know that their heads won't drop, because in the group stages they looked done and dusted against Bishopstown. They came back to win. They looked done and dusted against Newtown Chandram. They got the draw that day, and that is what got them through.
Yeah. And they'll take that, you know, dogfighting down to the last 5 minutes, you know, and anything can happen. Then they get on a bit of a roll. Like, they want to keep it as low scoring as they can, and they're doing that so far. It's a good start for them.
Okay.
And again, they win that kind of ruck ball, but falling over is Cian O'Callaghan. That's a fantastic dart of pace to go out and try and win that ball, but he couldn't get it up into the hand, Simon Kennefick. Horgan battling for it, but losing out on that battle. It's James O'Flynn. Toomey aiming again for Alan Bowen. It beats Bowen. The keeper's going to get there.
Yeah, and like Erins Own are hitting their full forward. Like, the Glen need to start getting as much ball in as quickly as they can. Like, Simon Kennefick is having a brilliant season. He's on 4 goals and 6 points so far in this campaign. That was the first real kind of ball he got. He was behind his man. He did make up the ground, which was great defending in fairness from Cormac Dooley. But Glen just need to start settling and getting the ball into their full forward line.
Great score.
It's a great score. Yeah.
That is
Robbie
an
O'Flynn.
absolute blockbuster of a score. What a strike from Robbie O'Flynn, his 2nd of the game.
And you mentioned him earlier, O'Sheen, like, that's 2 already. I said he needs to get 3 or 4. He's already odds on for that. They need a big performance from it. He started really, really brightly.
Be very worrying as a back there when you look at Simon Kennefick, when a fella starts behind you,
Yeah.
goes around you, and gets out in front. Yeah. As a back, you don't want
ominous,
to
isn't
see
it?
that. Yeah.
Glen
So
Rovers
they have
with no
fierce
score.
pace inside there in the full forward line. So it'll be interesting. They're getting no ball in there.
No.
Glen Rovers with no score for the last
Just
4
their dog,
minutes. Owen Murphy again. Lovely short hand passing
A lot
Cronin.
of space inside in the full forward line there now.
Can they exploit that space? Trying to collect it is Cian O'Callaghan. Cian O'Callaghan holds it up, couldn't get it cleanly the first time, does manage to get it into the hand eventually.
Oh,
That's
goal
a good
line.
hand pass out! And over it goes from Alan Bowen.
Yeah, it was a good score, but there was a goal on there. Like, he was through a few steps there. There was a goal chance. I nearly, when you have a chance like that, a goal, especially when you're
Gotta take
underdogs,
it.
you got to take them.
And credit here, Ronan, I suppose the pressure that was on Rob Downey. They're fighting really, really hard. They're recycling the ball well. Owen Murphy gave a great ball back to Stephen Cronin. He gave a great right to left ball, but
Great
definitely
touch.
there was a goal chance on earlier.
This is the man they want on the ball. Horgan, it's going to drop short though. Oh, that's a bit of a wild pull. We might have to come back for that. That's a shot which is saved by Bowen. That's fantastic stuff from Erins Own. Trying to pick it up now is O'Carroll, and he does. Good stick pass to Colm Coakley.
Yeah, Coakley's tidy.
Yeah, he's a good hurler. He was away for a while, wasn't he?
He's always tasty on the
It's
ball.
always been good for him.
Bowen came out a long way to meet that. He's tangling with
Few
Dooley.
loose pulls coming now, lads.
Yeah, and with a referee letting it go. Promises to be a big one.
Noonan
Well done.
Good ball. That's a real surge out of defence by Stephen MacDonald, one of the more experienced players out there. And that's saying a lot considering the players that are on either side. That would be some score if it was to go over from there. And it does.
That's a great score. They needed that, and that's leadership, when they're under the cosh there. Dol Cronin has been brilliant for him, and that was a massive score. Dean Brosnan hasn't been in the game yet.
He's
15 minutes gone, and the Glen need him going well.
Absolutely.
Great score from Donal Cronin. And he's on it again here. Liam Cullen, tugged back there by the cornerback who's doing well, Dara Toomey. But eventually Glen Rovers get a bit of space, and just as I say that, it's closed down. Out it goes from Dean Brosnan. That's lovely play from Glen Rovers. Pa Horgan in all the space in the world, and he just glides that over.
Yeah.
And there's that thing again with the centre back. Do I protect the centre, or do I go and mark my man? Decide to protect the centre. There's easy point for Hoggy.
Yeah, and in fairness, great ball down the line. Donal Cronin starting to come in. Liam Collin came out with one, a fantastic ball. Liam will always score a point or two, but he's very good at that, taking the ball on, getting into space and then offloading. He's very, very unselfish. He gave a fantastic ball to Brazzy, and then Dean Brosnan flicked it across to Hoggy. Very, very well worked score.
Glen look rusty though, don't they, Shawnee? They do.
What are they? 5 points after, if you,
They'd nearly
Can you shake off that rust during a game, Ronan, or?
Do you know what? It's that championship pace thing. It will come during the game once they get up to the pace of it. They were always going to have a slow start with no quarter final. That's the way it goes, and then they'll get into it as they go along. They'll actually nearly take this. They won't feel it now. But looking back in the game, they'll be happy enough they hung in there. Erins Zone should be more ahead. If
memory serves, you definitely won one All-Ireland having gone the backdoor route. Did you win another one having had that long gap between the Munster and the semi-final? I think maybe the year you drew against Wexford, and do you think that you were a bit rusty maybe in that semi-final? It's hard to shake off. That's the point I'm trying to make.
It is it is. There's no doubt. You can't beat championship hurling and championship pace. Like different clubs around the place. None of these clubs have played football. I think Nick's played last weekend, but I don't think I don't think any of the lads played or whatever. Yeah. But you need championships pace, even if it's football, just to get through it. Just to get up to the pace of the game, just to get those energy levels going, a bit of adrenaline in the body. They haven't had that there for 3-4 weeks. Yeah, it takes a while to get there. But they will. You can see it in them. They're rusty. They'll come good.
So Horgan doing Patrick Horgan things with that last score.
What has he got? He's 3 a free, 2 from players, 3, and a point from Donal Cronin, 4. So very good return as usual. You'll be expecting Patrick to get 4 or 5 from playing most games, so he's odds on for that already. But in fairness to Flynn, he's been bright as well. He's been on plenty of ball.
And just got off him.
Just moved, man. Maybe he can't do that well.
I see that an awful lot in the county at the moment. A few forwards gone back in centre back. It's very disrespectful to us centre backs. Say Michael Callahan for Bandon went in there.
It's forwards. They think they're the best hurlers and they can play anywhere on the pitch. You see, that's the problem.
Would you have fancy to go in centre back, Charlie?
I say it would have been too good under a dropping ball.
Kieran Hero Murphy with this line ball. He's beckoning some of the half-back line forward, including Stephen Cronin. That's there to be contested. Robbie O'Flynn again. He's already on 2 points. O'Flynn might have more in mind here. O'Flynn. That's a fantastic save, but it's followed up and it's scrambled in. And that's really, really good play.
I probably should have given the pass around 2 or 3 yards before that. Kind of got away with the goal, but the pass was on for the goal there. Great finish though.
Cian O'Callaghan followed in really well. He did exactly what you'd want your corner forward to do.
Absolutely, in fairness. But again, we'd had said it before the water break how bright Robbie O'Flynn was looking. Yeah. He's getting his 3 or 4 points. He got a goal against Newtown. He got 4 points earlier in the year against Bishopstown. He's been very, very bright. He got 3 points against Sarves in the quarter final, and that's what he does. He's very, very direct. I'd love to see him do a bit more of that with Cork. He goes right down the middle. He takes players on. If he's not going to score, he can offload. He probably should have offloaded earlier there, but in fairness to young Callan, he followed in and finished it brilliantly to the net.
Would you love seeing that fellas with pace running down the centre? Too often, fellas go towards the stand and stuff like that and take that shot over their shoulder from around 50 yards, which is great to see when they go over. But probably miss 7 or 8 out of 10 then sometimes, like, you know. Love when they go down the centre, just opens the whole thing and give a little pop pass off.
Like never before, I guess inter-county managers this season might be picking on club form. And if on Halloween night he does that against Waterford and Thurles, he'd be very happy men.
Happy days, absolutely.
He'll be happy. I won't.
He's put his hand up in the spotlight for selection already in this campaign. So let's see how the rest of the game goes.
Donal O'Rourke, his club coach, won't be too happy either. He's a Waterford man, but he's done great work with Erins Own. Has played, of course, with Sarsfields in the past and coached the Waterford Camogie team. Trying to pick it up now is Stephen Cronin. Cronin, who's been really decent any time we've seen him this year. Sean Kelly can't get it up into the hand. It's fairly frantic there, but eventually they win the ball and carry it away again. Coakley goes long. Might fall for Bowen, might fall for Cian O'Callaghan, whose confidence will be high after that goal. Bowen is showing quite the turn of pace there. He's having a good old duel with Dooling, but it's Glen Rovers who win the duel on this particular occasion.
Yeah, and even that cameo there, like the two boys going for it neck and neck, like there's definitely a bit more energy, or there's a bit more intensity or something in the Erins Own guys. Their tackling is a bit stronger and harder, so you just don't want the game slipping away from you. I get Ronan's point. If you're not playing championship regularly, you know, you can get a little bit lethargic or whatever. They just need to get into this game now and not let it slip away themselves.
Stephen Cronin winning it well.
I'd say probably the favourites tag as well. Probably might have got to them a small bit as well. They probably, like, I know you say you can't leave it into your psyche, like, but it does get there, like, you know.
Psyche too, yeah.
They were big favourites here today as well on top of the break.
That's a free one by Cian O'Callaghan, who is growing into this game.
Yeah. Good fast player, you know, good fast hurler, like, and if you have a bit of speed as Shawnee throughout the years, like, it's very tough to deal with.
Barry Og Murphy is warming up for Erins Own.
Colm Coakley is a big addition to Erins Own. I don't know, was he around for the last few years?
Oh, he's a good player.
He's a good player, gets on a lot of ball, great work rate.
What was that, Ronan? That was a 6-iron, was it?
Yeah, probably a pitching wedge for Owen now again.
That was an exquisite point by Owen Murphy. Fantastic stuff.
Big golf swing in him. He's been a great free taker.
So Barry Og Murphy is in, and I think that is
the Shawnee centre back
going off.
The crossing him without a doubt. I was lauding him there about 5 minutes ago.
He's holding the leg, to be fair to him.
He seemed to tweak his hamstring maybe a couple of minutes in.
Hamstring, was it?
Well, I'm not a doctor or a physio, but that's what it looks like.
Dr. Lengen.
Robbie O'Flynn. He's not a doctor either, but he'll try and dissect the posts, and he can't on this particular occasion.
There, straight through, could have taken another 20 yards if he wanted to. There are the points you need when you're underdogs.
Fourth wide for Erins Own, and for a player of his standard, that's a disappointing one.
Yeah, 2 from play and 2 wide, so he'd be disappointed with that. But he's played very, very well.
Noonan kind of ran out of room, but did well. He was clever in how he won that line ball.
It's been a long time since we've seen two fellas pull like that there, Kieran Murphy and Rob Downey, letting it go old style.
You haven't been watching Hero much over the years, I'd say.
Yeah.
He's well able to do that once or twice. You haven't marked him.
I haven't marked him now.
Toomey knocked it away brilliantly from Liam Collin there.
And to be fair to Hero, the ball was there, like, and there was nothing wrong with it, like, and it makes Robert think a small bit then as well, like, you know, so
no harm at all.
Not a bad effort.
That's a clever ball back to Dean Brosnan. And a really good block by Stephen Cronin.
Don't think the shot was on there really, it was a hopeful one. Maybe should have given the pop pass coming off the shoulder.
Cronin again. Rolls it into Cullen, who featured in last year's county final, a day that Glen Rovers perhaps won't want to remember. Off the stick it goes, but just didn't catch it right. Glen Rovers have dropped an extra man back. That's noticeable now, Ronan, isn't it? Because Erins Own were going long with a lot of ball.
Yeah, that was a late tackle there now.
Brian Moylan coming together with, I think it might have been.
Yeah, to be fair to Brian, that's what he does as a centre back, but he just needs the cover in front of him to drop back and pick up all the loose ball. As Shawnee said, he's doing it for years. So the Glen, really good club centre back, gets on a world of ball, but they need him on that ball. But you need protection in front of you to do that, otherwise the centre forward goes crazy, you know.
Yeah, and we're looking too negative against my own crowd. Like, a little bit disappointed that they're going back mentioning the point about the regularity that they're hitting the full forward line with. They're not. They need to be regularly baiting that ball in. If Simon gets enough ball inside, I think Liam Collin, when the ball he's gotten has looked bright and busy, they just need to be peppering it in there a bit more. And if they can get Brian Mylan on the ball, he's no better boy to deliver a good shot in than Brian.
Bowen, who has got a monster puck out. They didn't quite come up with a monster catch there. 10 minutes since Glen Rovers last scored before that last point, so they needed that. Slaloming in off the side is Mossy O'Carroll.
Very good out of Robbie O'Flynn again. He could have taken the shot on there, like with a lot of pressure on. Found the pop pass beside him, and Mossy O'Carroll put it over. Robbie's very bright in this game.
Glen Rovers, with all the firepower they have, hadn't scored since the water break up until that point a couple of seconds ago. Kennefic will try and make the odds look a little bit better, or make the scoring average look a little bit better now, but he gave it away, and then there's a heavy tackle, and that is a real sign of frustration if ever there was one, that tackle there, and it was needless from Adam O'Donovan.
That's brilliant for Erins. The roar, great defending, the ball coming out and lifting that bit more again, and it's kind of a silly free to give away really when he still had a lot to do.
Players down injured, the ref is playing away.
Trying to run onto this one now is Bowen. He's at a tight angle, but he does get it into the hand, turning, twisting, playing it back across, looking for O'Carroll. Just wouldn't fall to O'Carroll. He hasn't given up on it though. Erin's own haven't given up on anything at all this year. They're an incredibly determined team. Just went under the stick there of Barry Oak-Murphy, tangling with Kennefic. Kennefic on his hands and knees, losing it. Here's Barry Oak-Murphy. And shins it out over the line.
There doesn't seem to be any pattern of play to the Glens play at all. They're just hitting the ball up and hoping for the best and hoping for Hoggy lads to get on the ball. They need to start finding their men better than that, and the half hour showing for it a bit more. It doesn't look great so far for them,
No, and definitely the work rate from Erin's own is 10, 15, 20% higher than the Glens. They're, especially even inside in the full forward line, they're giving nothing away. And these kind of pop passes, 1-2s, they're doing this really, really well.
Kieran Murphy.
Jeez, that's gone over, right?
I thought it was over, but no, they've waved it wide.
It wasn't far wide. No,
5 wides now for Erin's own.
Okay. Yeah, they're mounting. The 5 on top of 11 would make it 16, so they'd be
Hoggy's gone into the full forward line now, but they aren't getting ball in there. Not yet anyway. Maybe that'll change now, I don't know, but there doesn't be much ball going into that full forward line yet. Great defense.
Brilliant stuff from Tara Toomey. 3-on-3 inside. It's old school. Play it up to the forwards and let them try and win it. Get the ball like you love it, hit it like you hate it, as Tommy Walsh would say, your former Fitzgibbon Cup teammate.
Yeah, it's a mix of tradition. We saw a pull earlier from Kieran Murphy where it was Derny left fly, and it's a mix of hard work and effort. It's all combined, and so far they're well worth their 6-point lead.
Good touch.
Lovely touch.
Good ball.
Cronin, capable of big scores. That's not going to be one, but it does drop inside. Bowen, cool as you like. I overheard the pre-game chat among the Erin's own players when they were all in a huddle in the centre of the pitch, and the word believe was the word I kept hearing.
Yeah, and they should really, because it was the county final, was it 16, was it? It was only a puck of ball in it. They had a great chance of a score with around 2 minutes to go in that game to put them, I think it was 2 or 3 points up, and they just missed it. So there was nothing in it a few years ago, so they're well able.
Yeah, and I think even there's a chance there.
Dropped inside by Kennefic. What a catch that was from Cian O'Connor.
They're all talking about how old Erin's own are, but they had probably 12 guys that played that day that are still playing, but the Glen had 11. So you could say they're on about how old Erin's own are, but they then haven't had huge changes in the last number of years either.
Yeah.
Clever defensive play there by Lynch, who just kind of held his man up, didn't let him run through. Hickey. The numbers are in favour of Erin's own, but that's brilliantly won. Adam O'Donovan scooped forward, the brick flick. Horgan tries to flick it back, but again Erin's own just get around and win the possession. Here's Barry Oak-Murphy.
Well done.
Great catch, brilliant stuff by Robert Downey.
We caught there.
Horgan.
Great turn.
Fancies this. and hits it wide. Just not going Glen Rovers' way, is it?
No, it's poor wide. No, it was the first good ball that went in there. In fairness, a great driving for Rob. He won it well in the air as well. Patrick will be disappointed, but look, a bit more of that. Get it in fast, right out in front of him. Doris come into the game a bit more. He's been quiet, and Simon. It's important enough for the forward line if they get it in there. So look, hopefully there's a bit more of that to come now. Good long deliveries from our half back line is what's needed.
It's great defending by Erins own though. They'd be delighted with it. They come out with a world of ball there. Now they're killing themselves by giving just long ball in and it comes straight back at them, like, you know. But the defending is top class.
Oh, what a brilliant double in the air by Mossy O'Carroll. And it was one-handed as well. Collected by McDonald, being harassed by Bowen. Owen Murphy.
Oh, dangerous ball.
Running onto it is O'Flynn. Tried to hit it on the volley. It's not gone yet though. Cian O'Callaghan, 2 around him. O'Callaghan drops it. Really good defending. I think that's Noonan who got it away. Colin all the way back inside his own 45, as you can see. Cian O'Connor is going to get there, and Cian O'Connor does wonderfully well to get that.
Yeah, he's won everything that's come down his way.
Lads, as a manager there now, what Robbie O'Flynn there now would drive me absolutely nuts. He tried to volley on a ball coming across from 40 yards. Get it in your hand.
He made a great run and everything.
Great run, did everything right, just put it in your hand.
Dooley. Well taken, Cronin. Cronin goes to ground, referee says no free. That's going to drop again. Owen Murphy's there.
Dangerous.
He thought about pulling on it, instead picked it up and just tapped it over. Good score from Bowen.
Yeah, that's a goal and 2. And even as the ball was in the air, he stepped out, he waited for the break to come from the full forward line. He didn't contest. Very, very clever play. And as I said, that's a goal and 2 points. A great start for... Sorry, 2 points. Sorry, I read that wrong. 2 points. 1 wide, 2 foot play.
Oh, Dean Brosnan. 4 points in the county final of 2016 when these two met. That's a good run by Brosnan.
And that's what he does. He runs straight at the fence and it causes fierce problems. You just want to see more of it as a Glen man.
That's what you're dead right, run. That's what his trademark stuff, isn't it? Take it on, head down and
it's very hard
finish.
to defend. Like once he gets away from the first tackle, if he sees any bit of space, you just want to see it 5, 6, 7 times in the game.
Yeah.
Just 2 points since the water break for Glen Rovers, but 6 points is nothing in a game of hurling. So they're still hanging on in there despite not having played at all in this first half.
I mean, they're experienced at this stage, and they were contested last year's county final. You know, they won their 2 in a row, 15 and 16. So it's it's a team laden with experience and players that have played in big games and come through difficult assignments and come out the other side with results. So yes, it is only 6 points.
Great to see the tussling here with Robert and Robert Downey and Hero. I was hoping the ball would go down on top of him there for that one.
Erins Own have had to make their second change. Stephen Horgan has come on. I think he came on for Stephen Cronin. Glen Rovers go long. If they could get a goal before half time, and it's more than possible when you've got a wizard like Pa Horgan on the pitch, but even he couldn't beat 3 players there.
I think he was being fouled there, to be fair, but the ref is leaving everything go, you know.
Kieran Murphy.
Inconsistent.
The Hero driving on, trying to get away from Robert Downey. Himself a hero, he's Iron Man.
It's no freeze, lads.
No.
Murphy up again.
Well played, don't feel it.
Colin Coakley. Taken back Dean Brosnan. Looking for Pa Horgan in behind. He's chased by Cormac Dooley. Horgan making his way towards goal, shaking off the defender. He surely has a free coming. Went for goal. He knew he had the advantage, so it was a smart play, but he has the free.
That was the first time there you could see an ache or a space right in front of Hoggy. The 2 corner forwards kind of came out and left a load of space in there. They got a great ball into him. That's the danger, and that's what the Glen should be doing, creating that space in front of him. And no defender 1-on-1 is going to hold him. So Erins just got to watch that and maybe drop a man if that happens in odd time.
And James O'Flynn's injury now can come back to bite him.
They've had to replace 2 of their starting half-back line.
Yeah, that's not good, I suppose. Your half-back line is supposed to be your launch pad of your team. Like when 2 of them go in the first half, usually teams don't have adequate half-backs to fill in there.
Well, if there's one thing Ronan, it is half-back lines.
Yeah, well, that is. Been involved in a few of them, all right.
Barry Og Murphy. Ball breaks. Adam O'Donovan couldn't take it cleanly. Erins Owen have it back, trying to turn and twist as Alan Bowen. Downey. Glen Rovers beginning to win a few of those battles.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's not a great game, but it's a great contest. Like, there's plenty of battles going on, individual battles, like Ronan said, with Kieran the Hero and Robbie Downey, but the tackling is teak tough, and it's an enjoyable game.
Noonan, really great block by Robbie O'Flynn. Forward from Kennefic into the path of Dean Brosnan. Half time, Glen Rovers trailing
there.
this
I
one.
thought it was a free. Hardly going to be a free with the ref, to be fair to him.
With the initial shrill blast of the whistle, I thought he was giving the free as well. But half time, Glen Rovers trailing here 2-6 to 7 points. Pa Horgan with 4 points. Maybe they need to get him into the game more, although that's not exactly genius management for me. If you have Pa Horgan on the pitch, you want to get him into the game. But what have you made of it so far, Shawnee?
I said before the break that it's not a brilliant game, but it's a good old fair. There's plenty of pulling and there's plenty of dragging, and the tackling is good and tough and hard. Erins Owen's tactic is fairly blatant, obvious. Play it in as quickly as possible. Now, what kind of a result have they got inside? Owen Murphy's got a free, he set up a goal. Alan Bowen is after getting 2 points, and Cian O'Callaghan got a great goal, and he came in off the rebound from the save from Cotsey after Robbie Flynn made a great run. So they've gotten a return from that fast ball in, and outside him, the half forward line has worked hard. Kieran Murphy, like Robbie Downey's hitting a bit of ball, but you could say he's kind of maybe broken even with him. Robbie's not dominating to the degree that you might have expected. Next to him, Robbie Flynn has got 2 scores and set up the goal, and Mossy Carroll has gotten a golden point. So from a forward point of view, I think Erins Owen will be really, really happy. They're working extremely hard, and defensively, Patrick has gotten 2 from play. He had a bad wide, but he hasn't completely opened up. Dean Brosnan is coming into it a little bit, but he too hasn't opened up. Sammy Kennefic, who's had a great year so far, has got no score yet. So all in all, you'd have to say Erins Owen are the happiest. They're ahead by 5 points. They've kept the Glen players, especially the key players, reasonably quiet. But as Ronan said, the game, the fact that they haven't played, as a Glen man, you'd like to think that Glen will gradually get their way, get their pattern, start chipping the ball over the bar and go 1, go 2, go 3 and start getting, score. But at the moment, they won't be happy. They'll be very, very disappointed. The effort isn't there. Erins Owen are working much, much harder. And as I said, they're keeping the Glen key players fairly quiet.
How did the Glen get that right in the second half? All of the errors that Shawnee has just pointed out and highlighted there.
Yeah, it's just a few things they have to do, really. I suppose the main thing is they have to up the intensity. They've come nowhere near matching Erins Owen intensity all over the pitch. And I think that starts in the forward line to put their backs under pressure, coming out with the ball. The Erins Owen forwards are tackling the Glen backs every time they get the ball. They're on top of them, and they haven't got a good ball into Pat Horgan, in the first half. And people kind of talk about how you mark Pat Horgan and stuff like that. You can't really do it. That's probably how you do it. You disrupt the ball coming in, that it's a bad ball going into the forwards and stuff. And the Glen have to show a bit more of that, because they look like a team that kind of going through the motions. We've talked about the break, we talked about them being favourites, but they got to up it there now. There has to be a bit of panic over there now as well, and you'll feel it in the first 10 minutes, of the second half. But you'll find they'll come into the game a bit more now in the second half, I'd imagine.
Well, it will be a very interesting second half. Half time, Glen Rovers trailing 2-6 to 7 points against Erins Owen in the Co-op Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship semi-final. Blackrock awaiting the winners in the final. It's a Saturday night special on Irish Examiner Sport, and it's entertaining so far. Let's hope the second half is as exciting as the first half was. We'll be back momentarily. Stay with us. Shawnee and Ronan just had enough time to check their Snapchats at half time. It is the Cork Premier Senior Hurling Championship, sponsored by Co-op, and of course our thanks to the Cork County Board who let us do this and are very much helpful in making it happen. We're delighted to be able to bring you these games under the lights in this spectacular stadium, Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Not a big crowd in tonight, and we appreciate that many of you who are watching this would rather be here, and we do get the honour that we have of being here, guys. I think it's a privilege to actually be at these games. This one at half time, by the way, is Erins Owen 2-6, Glen Rovers 7 points. But as I was saying there, Ronan, you've done it as a coach this year as well. Now you're doing it for the first time as an analyst. It is a privilege to actually get into these matches, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. I suppose we've been starved of it for the whole year, it kind of made us more fond of going to games. I think there'll be a big upsurge in the games when they open up, fully whenever we get out of this thing. And obviously the service that the Examiner done is fantastic as well. It's great to get to people to actually see the games, and the interest is there. The interest is always in Cork, we love our hurling down here, and it's great to be able to get it, to see two teams going wholeheartedly at it, and seeing who comes out the best, and it's great to be here watching this fabulous thing.
Shawnee, it is a fabulous contest, this, isn't it? Erin's Own, do they just need to keep doing what they've done so far in the second half?
And maybe a little bit more, because they're going to get a surge. The Glen aren't going to give it up lightly. Got to the county final last year, very disappointed. To be beaten by O'Kelly, and kind of had O'Kelly on the ropes towards the end, and maybe if the game went on for another little bit, they might have squeezed it. So then will feel give us a chance to get back to that county final, and would love nothing more obviously than to play against Blackrock. It would be to be a glamour tie really. I think a lot of neutrals as well would like to see it.
Glamour for you, Sean.
Sorry to embarrass me. But I think obviously they've got plenty of spirit there, and I think they'll come out. Like Ronan mentioned about things like intensity, work rate and that, and sometimes to get things going you might need to make a substitution. I see Mark Dooley warming up there. He's a very tall, strong, really good in the air, combative type player, doesn't score heavily, but the last day against PSHC won a great ball, went on a solo run, offloaded to Simon. And maybe when you get a big, tall, strong, robust type of player like that, it'll help bring other players like Liam Collin into it. I see him warming up.
Is there game to go long and win it like that, or is there game to work it short through the lines, Glen Rovers? Because you can't just throw away your game plan, can you?
No, but the Glen game plan is a mix, but it's not. I was involved with it for 2 years. We don't really play a terribly short game. It is quite, we can mix it up a bit, but like Richie does, a good, solid, traditional game, combative, man-on-man stuff. And Mark Dooley is made for that. Cotsey and goal will, if it's on, go short, and he gave a great ball to Patrick early on, centre forward there. But he will hit his half-forward line, and he'll hit him with regularity if he thinks that the half-forward is winning it. And Mark Dooley could be a great option there now, and I think he'll come in at some stage.
I guess the focus running for the Glen Rovers management at half-time is to get their players to go out and win those battles in the second half, because no matter what style you're playing, if you're not winning the battles, if you're not beating your own man individually, or at least getting parity, you are not going to win a game of hurling.
There's no doubt there's a bit of that to it, alright, and I hear Shawnee saying about the kind of traditional style and mixing it. They really have to mix it up a bit more. They're getting no change whatsoever from the forwards here, and it's all because of the ball that's going in. They need to find their men. They pacey forwards, and like Luke Horgan, I don't think has been on the ball much because the ball's just been hit in there. You need to give these fellas, Liam Collins the same. Hoggy, alright, to be fair, win his own ball in there, but you need to play these fellas into it and let them show off the skills they have when they get the ball. But they gotta create more space, maybe drag a few Erins Own defenders out of their pockets or something like that. And they only did it there at the very end. They need to do more of that. That is the main thing for them, so that they can show their skills.
There's no reason why Erins Own can't keep doing what they have done so far, and particularly special word for their backline, Cian O'Connor, Cormac Dooley and Dara Toomey, who have been on top so far.
Yeah, but it's totally opposite for Erins Own. Erins Own are a big, strong team, and that old traditional ball suits them, so they can keep doing the same thing that they're doing, and getting the ball in there, and then let that intensity come to the fore on the breaks and stuff like that.
I suppose on their side, you mentioned their half-back line as well. The two half-backs they've lost, they could be huge losses yet. So, but the lad 18 there, I haven't seen much of him, Barry Oak-Murphy. He's a bit of all. He's actually doing reasonably okay. I just see Mark Dooley's gone over him there now. They've brought Dooley on.
Yeah. He actually looks small enough back line.
They've brought Paddy on as well. Paddy Cunningham is on too.
Well, we're almost ready to go for the second half. The Co-op Premier Senior Hurling Championship semi-final between Glen Rovers and Erins Own, a 2-point difference at the water break. It was 1-3 to Erins Own, 4 points to Glen Rovers. Coming into the second half, it's 2-6 to 7 points. 2 changes on the Glen Rovers team. Well, just as you expected, Shawnee, Mark Dooley is in, David Cunningham is in as well. We'll get to that in just a second. Barry Oak-Murphy and James O'Flynn, in for James O'Flynn for Erins Own. That was in the first half. Stephen Horgan also replacing Stephen Cronin. So both teams have made a couple of substitutions. Pa Horgan on 5 points rather than 4, which is what I said at the end of the half. They'll obviously hope that he can get on it a bit more in the second half. And already you can see the difference Mark Dooley has made. He came in, won a ball, got a foul, and Now Glen Rovers have the free.
Shawnee,
What did I tell you?
It's your crystal ball.
He's a good player. Look, I know he's been on good old form as well. Practice games there, he's been playing quite well. So.
Yeah, hard fella to mark as well, awkward, big, strong in the air, like, to be fair. And same with David Cunningham, great paw on him, like, so they have options for the puck outs here now. I know.
Yeah.
6 points now for Horgan. 2-6 plays 8 points, 4 in the difference. That 1-3 run that Erin's own went on after the water break really kind of separated the teams in the first half, but as we say, that gap can be closed very quickly in a game of hurling, and Simon Kenneth will do his best to close it even further, and that's a really good score, his first of the game.
Yeah, and that's what they need. They need a fast start there now, and fella to show. I think he kind of hurt himself as he was turning, though. He looks like he's limping after that a small bit, so maybe something to watch.
Great for his confidence now.
We've already seen what Mark Dooley can do because, well, he's done it already. What will David Cunningham bring?
Look, we were up in Charleville this time last year against, or up in Mallow, against Charleville, and Paddy didn't come on, we wouldn't have won the game. We played Newtown in the quarter-final last year. If Paddy didn't get the goal, we wouldn't have won the game.
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah. I didn't want to mention that one.
Yeah. He's a great Paul, like, to be fair. He's a brilliant battler, a great club man.
Yeah.
Is this kind of a we call him Rodney after Dave thing? His nickname is Paddy, obviously, David Cunningham, just to clarify.
Yeah.
Coming out with the ball is Cian O'Connor.
This will test their own zone there now. It's the first real challenge they've got. Their lead is already whittled down to 3 points.
James O'Carroll pucked it into the middle. It was blocked off by Robert Downey. Stealing away with it is Kieran Murphy. Good pass by Murphy. Barry Og Murphy. Dooling runs onto this. Nice ball. Slotted out of defence. Glen Rovers look cooler and calmer already in this second half. Can they apply the finish? Horgan's trying to drop under it. Does steal it! And has to settle for a point rather than a goal, but it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, great goal chance there. You'd nearly expect him to get that, even though it was a tough one. Like.
Yeah, and I'd say the cornerback. I'd say Dan Dooley might have, or Dara Toomey, sorry. Dan Dooley, Dara Toomey might have actually made a bit of a save.
Erin's own now need a leader to step up now and get a score like Donald Crone did in the first half, because they've hit a purple patch here to Glen. They need to stop it.
Glen Rovers with 3 in a row since the half started. That's scooped forward by Owen Murphy, tapped on by Bowen. Hickey very quick off his line, held up by Bowen.
Good tackle.
Kind of scoops it out to Brian Moylan, the captain, who's after clearing it, and Hickey was flung to the ground by one of the Erin's own players, but we will play on. Stephen Horgan, Colin Coakley taking on Adam O'Donovan.
Great ball.
Back it goes to Sean Kelly. That looks like it's drifting off the face of goal. It is, and it goes wide.
And it was a great effort. It was a great triangle there. Like, to be fair, gave 2 good balls. Great shot. Maybe the shot was a bit too much, was it? Maybe he should have worked into his full forward line a bit. But and there are the scores. You need to stop it. Stop the flow of the game.
Stop the rot.
A second wide for Sean Kelly. A 6th for Erin's own. These stats, the in-game ones, not taken from Wikipedia. You'll be glad to know. Aoife scribbling away beside us. Patrick Horgan dropping it inside, and that'll be an interesting decision. It's judged as a wide. I thought maybe it went off the defender, and it could have been a 65, but no, it will be a puck out. If you were doing stats for the last game, your hand would be worn out by the end of it. Worth looking back. Blackrock against UCC. Blackrock won it in the end, but it was a belter. It was live on the Irish Examiner, and as with all of the games that are streamed, you can watch them back. Here's Cian O'Callaghan, but he's after losing it, and Glen Rovers are doing, Ronan, what we said they needed to do. They're winning their individual battles now.
Yeah, they're up in it. You can feel it around the place, and like the 2 points at the very start of the second half did that. Like, there's a bit of a buzz there now about them. Yeah. You can see it, like. They got another decision there. No, I don't know about that one. And that's what happens when you're on top, when you're attacking, you get those decisions.
There's a bit of a city swagger about them, Shawnee.
Well, yeah, look, at half time I was saying that they have plenty of experienced players, and they've been in dog fights in the past, and they've been staring down the barrel maybe where they've games going against them, and they've clawed their way back into it. And again, leadership. Patrick Horgan here has got scores in the start of the second half. Mark Dooley showed leadership by winning the first ball. Simon Kenneth showed leadership by scoring from play. And that's what Richie demands from each player. Every position, every battle, or every contest, is a battle when it goes in there, and that's what he wants. And so far, the Glen have started very, very well. They started the second half.
Incredibly well. 4 in a row now. That is a big call to bring off Owen Murphy because he can win ball. Here's Colm Coakley. Coakley didn't catch that one right. Swept up by Erins own. There's nothing wrong with their work rate. They're still battling. It's just the Glen Rovers have upped it a bit. Here's Coakley. Misaims his stick pass. That was really well taken. O'Carroll heard the shout inside. Just slipped off the hand of Cian O'Callaghan. Well won by Adam Lynch. Lynch is completely bottled up, but did really well. Stayed really calm. And away it goes from Moylan. 2-on-2. Kennefic just couldn't take that kind of primary possession. Here's Cian O'Connor. Horgan with the hand pass. Flicking on Simon Kennefic. Was he fouled? Referee says no. 2 back there for Erins own. But Glen Rovers are just fighting for absolutely everything here. O'Carroll, yeah, he did get away with it. O'Carroll. Mossy O'Carroll runs after it. Might fall away of Cian O'Callaghan. No, it doesn't. Now it's Lynch. Lynch is wrestled there by Mossy O'Carroll. O'Carroll does very well. Is that a foul? Referee says no. Robbie O'Flynn there now. Moylan. Lovely ball. That's really good work from Ronan Toomey. Kieran Murphy, they need a score. Falls the way of Toomey. Toomey absolutely smothered.
It's sloppy.
This is a different Glen Rovers we're seeing in the second half.
Yeah, the hurling just a little bit sloppy though. That should have been either slipped over or shortened the stick.
But it was down in many ways to the tackling and the pressure that Rovers put on them. Here's Horgan. Horgan into the Blackrock end.
There was a big difference there now between a great opportunity of a score for Erins own, and he was just static with the ball. You know, needed to keep those legs moving forward. Yeah. It's very noticeable with the Glen half forward line now with the 2 lads that they brought on, that they're actually coming out the pitch and it's leaving a load of space inside for the full forward line. I don't know if it's Paddy's and Mark's style of play, or is it an actual tactic out of the Glen just to drag it out and work it up and kick the ball into the forwards, but there's a lot more space in front to hog in the lads inside.
Definitely.
The team's level for the first time since the 7th minute in the first half.
I suppose from an Erins own perspective now, they'll be hoping to try and get Robbie O'Flynn back into play 8 minutes into the second half. This time in the first half he had a lot of players, but I don't think he's been on the ball much so far. I see he's marked by Rob Downey now at the moment, so that'll be a good battle for him over there.
Yeah. I always look at the scores in this thing, like, you know, it's 12 scores to 8, like, you know, even though we said like the Glen were struggling a bit, like they've still outscored. It's just goals change games a small bit, like, and maybe our perception of it a bit, like, you know, they've still outscored them 12 scores to 8, you know.
And it was 2-6 to 7, so it is 5-0 now so far in this second half, so they've been completely dominant in these first 8 or 9 minutes of the second half.
You can see they're well over them, their tempo's up.
Cathal Lenihan has come in for Erins own, replacing goal scorer Cian O'Callaghan. Erins own yet to score in the second half. Receiving some treatment is Cormac Dooley.
They've had a few chances, they just need to finish them off, like, especially when this run is coming, you know, you need to pop over, keep the scoreboard ticking over even a little bit and just keeping it until the end, you know.
Shawnee, a question I wanted to ask you since we started, but we haven't had time. Anthony Daly on his Irish Examiner hurling podcast said a couple of weeks ago he was marking you one day and you actually asked someone in the crowd for a sup of their bottle of Coke. Is that true? Did that happen? In a championship game, I think.
I didn't ask it till the bottle was thrown at me.
Thrown at or thrown to?
Daly's not far off. He's a good man to tell you are.
That's a nice way of saying that's a little bit of a fabrication.
I know. He's some character, but he's burning a bit of stuff.
Well, I think the days of taking random bottles of Coke off people is gone now, but it was okay back then. Or was it? I don't know.
Was it ever okay, actually?
That's a good ball won by Toomey. He's played well tonight. Cam hurling. Barry Og Murphy. They went direct in the first half. It worked. Hasn't worked so far in the second half. Downey gets it away.
Downey and Moylan are coming out with a lot of ball now since the second half started.
Colm Coakley. Don't forget, Anthony Daly's podcast is out on Monday. We'll discuss these games and everything else in the hurling world. Yes. Now, will they be able to change the hurley as quickly as they did in the quarter-final? No. He doesn't need one, James O'Carroll. I think Neil Fenn, the Cork City manager, will be having a look at James O'Carroll. They could do with a bit of strength at the moment.
He ran all the way across the pitch without a hurley, to be fair to him. Did very well.
Well, now he has got the hurley. Adam O'Donovan was standing over. He's going to jog off and leave it off for Donald Cronin.
Don't make up for the shot ball here. He usually does in these ones. He's looking for it.
Erins Own have an extra man back there at the moment, trying to break it to himself with Simon Kennefick, but that's really well won.
It's been brilliant, lads. You know, it's been top class. It's just their delivery is poor.
Yeah. Noonan lets it off for Horgan. Horgan back to Noonan. There's a free run to goal here. Noonan, he'll just tap this over. Did the right thing.
And that's it again there. They won a great ball there, great defending, and just decided just to turn and hit it, got blocked down, and Glen gets the break and goes in.
Probably the first time now in the night that they've led, so they've got into a great position. 13-2-6.
Fair to Erins Own, they're probably getting a bit tired now as well, aren't they? Like, you can feel it there, you know, they're just
working so hard. They put such an effort in that first half.
Glen Rovers ahead for the first time in this match.
Luke Horgan gone off, is it?
Yeah, Dale Tynan, good young lad in as well.
Who's it?
Dale Tynan.
Dave Tynan has come in.
Robbie O'Flynn has gone out of the game
Horgan,
as well,
gone off.
The first 20 minutes.
Right, yeah.
Luke Horgan, that is. Sean Kelly, another last hurley. It is retrieved. James O'Carroll. Can Erins Own get a break? They can't on this occasion. Kieran Murphy taking on Lynch and getting a free.
Experience.
Cute.
He played that one. He did well, to be fair, won a good ball there, but I think they're missing Owen Murphy's presence in there a small bit. You know, there's a lot of they're not changing their game plan yet. Their forwards in there aren't suited to it now. I think I was watching Owen there at half time. He looked like to be carrying a bit of an injury, to be fair to him, so he is a loss, and for frees as well now. I don't know who'll take over the frees here now as well.
And if we look at their casualty list, like you mentioned, Shane Murphy is missing the game. Like if we thought before the game that Stephen Cronin, James O'Flynn and De Beer Murphy will be off after 40 minutes, you'd fear for Erins Own. No, they're still battling away, but the signs
a lot of
great.
top quality players, especially when you're an underdog. Alan Bowen taking the
Rovers 27-time champions. Alan Bowen for the 3-time champions. First score of the second half for Erins Own, and it ties us up again.
They needed it.
He took it well, to be fair.
Yep.
Well, even if the journey is to end tonight, I think it's fair to say Erins Own had been good value in this Cork Senior Hurling Championship. But you know what? They've got a really good chance here. Here's Coakley. Recycles to O'Carroll. O'Carroll from a really tight angle. It's going to drop though. Falls the way of O'Flynn. O'Flynn pounced on. Shows his strength, then loses
Robert Downey did very well there.
Yeah.
Robert Downey is fouled, and it's a free out.
But you look at Massey shot off the back foot, you know, the wrong way from around 50 yards out. You know, it's a better option there. Nothing gets me more than the lads who hit the ball off the back foot, you know, going over their shoulder. Some lads could do it, but not everyone.
Hickey went long. O'Carroll was under it, but he couldn't make the connection. Cronin taps it inside. That's a good take at pace. It's a crossfielder. They're looking inside. Oh, it just wouldn't quite falter him. It's well defended by Sean Kelly, who got back there. Running onto it was David Cunningham, but he just couldn't quite catch it.
If you put anyone in that position, would have put Paddy there with a good right hand. He'd be disgusted with that and on him.
Yeah, it was a great crossfield ball, in fairness.
Yeah, great ball.
Dale Tynan inside now is a little bit different to Luke Horgan, lad gone in. He's very, very pacey, so I said that Glen will be hoping that if Dale can get a ball, the tired legs inside, he might be able to take on the full back line in Erins Own and create or score himself.
Well, this should be the last puck before the water break. It's a break I think that Erins Own need.
There's a bit of a feeling around here now that the Glen have him, like, don't they? You know, you can kind of feel it in the stadium.
He's one of the best, Horgan. He's shown us yet again there. These are the kind of scrambles that Erins Own were winning in the first half and making good use of the ball that they won. I think we might have to have a clash ball here. And stealing away with their Glen Rovers. Well, it trickles towards the sideline. And it's an Erins Own ball, a break that they needed.
And it is a bit scrappy, but it's still great to see referees just letting it off, because there was a time maybe when he would have pulled it up earlier and then for the bash ball. But see who wins it, let the contest develop.
To be fair to Simon, he's one of the best referees around. Like, I know there was a lot of frees there in the first game, and this one now is been left go a lot better. I think.
Very open.
Barry Og Murphy. What would a goal do for Erins Own? O'Flynn! Oh, that's a wonderful finish!
Yeah, and we're just saying we hadn't seen him in the second half, and he pops up with a goal, and they needed that.
Right on cue.
Just before. And that's massive. That's worth more than the goal just at that time. Like they come into a water break now on a high, and you might get another 5 minutes out of that, maybe a score or two.
And look, the Glen have been really, really good the second half. There's no getting away from that. But Erins Own led at half time by 5. Now they're leading in the first water break in the second half by 2. I'll tell you something, at 4 or 5 o'clock today, if someone told them on the 46th minute they'd be leading by 2 points, they'd have taken it. It's turning into a right contest.
Yeah.
3-7 to 14 points to score at the moment. Robbie O'Flynn's goal just before the water break has maybe injected a bit of life into Erins.
Yeah, look, you referenced it yourself at the start, Oisin. Every player has key players, whether they're defenders or forwards, and without question, Robbie Flynn is a huge player for Erins Own. He's after getting a goal and 2 points. He's been, at the centre of all their good moves. The goal he set up in the first half, where he took a shot and it broke to the lad Callan, and he scored from it. Robbie Flynn was all over that. His stamp was all over it. He had been a little bit quiet at the start of this second half, but that's a quality score. It's perception, waiting on the break. It's been patient, and then it's he's right-handed, so to have the ability to strike so hard and strong off his left hand shows his hurling ability, and he's really stood up. And they'll just need a bit more now. They'll need one massive 15 minutes from him and a few more, but they'll need Robbie now to chip in and probably be a bit more involved, because he was quiet for that first period of the second half.
How does he get more into the game himself?
That's very hard. I think Downey has picked him up as well now, so he's on a good player now as well. And it's hard. He just needs to maybe drift out the field maybe a bit more to get on ball if he wasn't getting on the inside there. But that's real leadership, when you haven't had. I don't think that was the first score in the second half. So to get a goal like that, from play, just on the
first score from play,
I think it was. Yeah. So no, we got 5 minutes out of that here. Now the next score is massive here now as well.
Okay, well, we're back with the game.
The free, in fairness, you were on about the free. Alan Bowen, that was a huge.
That's right.
Free
it was their first score from play.
Huge free.
Back with play. Can Glen Rovers respond immediately? Horgan. He's the man you want to be striking the ball, but he is human and occasionally does miss. That's actually, I think, his second miss tonight, and it's a wide.
Yeah, he had a bad free in the first half.
That's
right, Take him off.
I want to be very, very clear. That is not what I'm suggesting.
Come on, very hard.
I know, you're right.
Well, I'm one of these lads who thinks Cantona was overrated, so.
Oh, shit.
That's a really good take by Moylan. Well, no, Horgan, to be fair to him, is probably the best forward out there at the moment. Up there with TJ Reid, certainly. Kieran Murphy inside, and Joe Canning as well, obviously. Who's going to win that spill ball? Glen Rovers first to it. That's a vital intervention and a free out.
They're still working hard, They're still at it. And to be fair to Hero, Hero's 37 years of age, and he's going hard there towards the end. To be fair to him, it's great going.
You heard the pre-match stuff, Oisin. They're certainly showing plenty of belief.
Glen Rovers look to win primary possession. It's batted down into the path of Barry Og Murphy, who's been on for a while. He's hooked, dispossessed. Clever play, but O'Connor is in to rescue his team. He's a live wire, O'Connor. He loses it though.
I did well though. There's it again.
Cronin, cool as you like.
A little bit of
Snipes
experience
a good
there,
score.
popped the ball out, Donald Cronin over the bar, whereas other fellas would have turned and went for the shot.
We're struggling up front, and that's Donald's second point. So for a midfielder, that's super leadership. Apart from Patrick, there's no one really stamping their authority yet in the game from a forward point of view on the Glen side.
And you would have expected or hoped for more as a Glen person, more of Simon Kenny. Think he'd be going well so well all year. Yeah. He's been very quiet in this game. Maybe Marshall well by the cornerback, but you need more out of him, especially if you're getting to the final to beat Blackrock.
Big time.
extra time and penalties if required tonight. What a day for Simon Zebo, by the way, getting to the Heineken Cup final with Racing 92 and his hurling club Blackrock getting to a Cork senior final, a Premier senior final. Kicked forward by David Noonan. We better give the tip man Donncha Ryan some credit for that as well with Racing. Two excellent performers.
Here's Simon now.
There you go.
That's it. Great score.
We talked about Simon Zebo. Now we're talking about Simon Kennefick, because that's a wonderful, wonderful point. His second from play.
Yeah, he's a great ability. Ronan just referenced him a second ago, and that's what he loves. Ball just outside and over the shoulder, and he's a real confidence player. So that and the score at the start of the second half should instill him now with plenty of confidence to drive on and get a few more.
Sam Guilfoyle has come on
and
for
I think he
Erins'
started
own.
the first few games as centre forward. I think Sam did.
They're not afraid to make big calls, the Erins' own management. Martin Bone, of course, the manager, and now they've given away the free.
I couldn't see that free. What was that for? Just that one.
I've got a monitor right beside me here, and I just watched it back and couldn't see what it was for. Referees being that bit closer, they can maybe see the hurley being held a bit clearer than we can. If it was for a tug or something like that, that's the only thing I can think of.
They put the big man in the full forward line. They're clearing space.
David Noonan has a look up, fancies this one.
Yeah, that's lack of concentration, that's tiredness. No, you should never leave that happen.
Yeah.
Free man, easy score. It can cost you a game.
Noonan with his second point. As we say, spent some time in Boston. If Glen Rovers win the title this year, they'll be having more than a tea party though.
There's not too much tea above Blackpool actually.
Glen Rovers ahead again. Sam Guilfoyle pumps the legs, gets forward. Still going. Scoops it, but can't get it to a teammate. O'Donovan showed a heavy touch, pulled on by James O'Carroll, but goes out over the line. That was Pat Horgan, I beg your pardon, with the heavy touch, but it was James O'Carroll who put it out over the line.
Yeah, you can see the Erins' own legs are tired now. They need a score or two. Look at the space inside in the full in front of Simon Kennefick. There's around 60 yards there.
Yeah.
Get the ball in here now. It's a nightmare for the fullback. There you go.
Glen Rovers looking to get their third score in a row over the top of Simon Kennefick's head. It goes. He's been chased by Dooley.
Nightmare.
That's fantastic work.
That's a penalty.
That is a penalty. Well, it could be a penalty.
The Erins' own had to drop back there. They needed to get a man back there. There was just too much space in front of the fullback. To be fair to him, he couldn't do anything about it.
The foul was committed outside the square. Just had to.
Okay, and if you're going to
Look
do
at the
that,
replay
if
there.
you're going to retreat out and you're going to play one inside, then you need fellas out the field, your midfielders and your half forwards. And in fairness, Dooley had the vision and the wherewithal to give the right pass over the top, and there was a foot race then, and Simon has great pace. But there's no point in doing those tactical switches if you're not going to adapt and have fellas tuned in outside. So fair play to Mark Dooley there for a great crossfield ball.
3 in a row for Glen Rovers. Horgan yet again. Four in a row, I beg your
Heroes
pardon.
calling for it. It's very bunched here now. Switch the player, Robbie.
Flynn blocked down.
Good defending by Stephen McDonald there.
Glen are on top now.
Good clearance. Batted into the path of James O'Carroll. Just about gets there. That's well gathered by Sean Kelly.
The quality ball going in now is gone very poor, where there's men free on the far side of the pitch and just look across and give the ball across the pitch.
Almost lost between McDonald and Downey. Erins' own battling to try and get it, and they do through Coakley. Coakley held up by Brian Moylan, does manage to get it away to Robbie O'Flynn. Flynn feels he has to go for it. And why not?
Let's go.
It's their first since the water break.
Well, as a Glen man, no, but to be fair, unbiased, yeah, I think it just about was great. That's 1-3 no run. He's having a great game.
Yeah, it's a great game, to be fair. What is he? 1-3?
1-3, yeah, all from play, in fairness.
It's their first score since the goal, which was also Robbie O'Flynn. Stephen Horgan. This one's flying by. There's only 4 minutes left. Noonan.
Yeah.
The potential is there for this one to spill over.
I think Hero's gone down. He fears a red here.
There's plenty of shouting around going
There's
across
a few belts went across
stand.
there. Yeah. The one thing that might save Kieran here is that he got a belt back.
One point in it. Glen Rovers leading.
Yellow, is it? Yeah. It's his first ever yellow, I'd say.
A yellow card for Kieran Murphy.
He's very shy in retiring, isn't he? Didn't say much.
They ended a 21-year gap when they won the county title in 2015. It's not been quite as long a wait since. 4 years, obviously, if they can win it this year, but they're determined to get to the final where Blackrock lie in wait. They've had a bit of a slumber themselves, haven't they?
Yeah, I suppose outside the county people mightn't realise, but at under
what a free!
Have been absolutely dominating the under 21 grade. So I think this was the progression over the last couple of years has been coming a while now. Great score again from Patrick.
Good win underage for the Bars a couple of weeks ago in the minor. Ronan, you must be delighted with that.
Yeah, great win, great bunch of players. You know, we're hoping to get a good few out of that group, and we need it. You know, we've a good group of seniors at the moment over there. Like, so to add a few fellas into that there now over the next few years will be great. And we're hopeful because we talk about slumbers. Bars is way too long now.
Absolutely. 93 was the last senior one.
93, and that's actually the first minor since I was a minor in 97.
And that's a discussion for another time. Glen Rovers giving some treatment to David Cunningham. It's getting heated out there.
Yeah, two lads have done well since they come on. Paddy and Mark, to be fair, they've added a bit of steel to it, like, you know, and they've won a lot of balls around there, set up a lot of scores, whereas they mightn't be scorers themselves. They set up a lot of scores.
Chance here now just to stretch it out another bit here. Up to 3.
It's a calm night. It is crisp, but nice conditions for a game of hurling. And Horgan into the Blackrock end guides it over.
Here we go, minute and a half.
Oh, about hitting it down to Robert Downey, lads.
What a catch that was from Robert Downey. Hitting it down the line to Simon Kennefick. Good full back play by Dooley. Erins own need a goal at this stage, but as we've seen tonight, they're capable of getting them. However, not if they give the ball away like that. Tynan, good score.
Simon Kennefick is limping very badly there, lads. He's struggling through an injury for the whole second half, to be fair to him.
That was a lovely tidy score by Tynan.
Yeah, he's a nice player, very good underage player, very wholehearted, and he's got great pace, so that'll do his confidence great now. Hopefully we're county final to come.
Well, it's looking good for Glen Rovers, but if there's one thing you do not do with Erins own is write them off. That's a fantastic block, but the ball still goes forward. Sam Guilfoyle. Nice ball inside. Can they get anyone onto this? Trying to get it up into the hand is Kieran Murphy. Murphy does get it. He's got a free runner inside. Here could be that goal. A dramatic finish again. Cathal Hickey blocks it. Cathal Lenihan's shot looked goal bound. He didn't catch it particularly well, and Hickey may well have just sealed it for Glen Rovers with a fantastic and brave save.
Yeah, he's been one of the best keepers that Glen have ever had. He's a super player and has played huge roles in the victories in 15 and 16. That was a fabulous save.
Yeah, I think the forward could have done better there. Maybe batted in or actually take him on because he was out on top of him.
Well, there was a late hit, according to the Erins own crowd over on the far side. We'll stick with it because play is going on. Sweeping it up again is David Cunningham. Out it goes, and Robert Downey is chasing after it. There is a free in for Erins own.
Robert Downey picked up Robbie Flynn's hurling through the way. And that's what the free is for. Bit of a silly one if they get a goal from it.
Will they go for goal, Shawnee? Do they have to?
I suppose they have to. I'm not sure what kind of injury time will be played, Oisin. I'd say there must only be, I can't remember too many stoppages. I'd say there's probably another minute to go. So, I mean, if you think of it, if that last one went in and now you're facing this one.
Oh, that was a fierce chance.
He should have probably sidestepped alright. Yeah. No,
credit to Hickey though, who got off his line. A lot of keepers mightn't have anticipated like he did. So Robbie O'Flynn, he probably has to go for it. He's got a goal from play already tonight, plus 3 points from play. O'Flynn taps it over. So obviously he had a word with the 5 minutes. So obviously O'Flynn knew that. O'Flynn obviously knew that when he took that free and just tapped it over.
Jeez, I got James O'Flynn wrong. I'm after getting the time wrong.
There was a stoppage just before the water break, wasn't there? Yeah, I remember that. Well, I didn't call you out on it. I didn't correct you, so I'm not taking any credit.
I suppose.
So there is time. There is time to win or lose this one for Glen Rovers or Erins own. Remember, if it's all square at the end, we are going to extra time. Sean Kelly tries to get to it now. It's David Cunningham. That's a fantastic little tidy ball from Ronan Toomey. Sam Guilfoyle, he's got a man inside, goes outside instead to Colin Coakley. Coakley lets it slip. Coakley back to Guilfoyle. Coakley still in that little pocket of space. 1-on-1 inside. What's going to happen here? It fell the wrong side for the onrushing Erins own player. Good defence though from Glen Rovers, and now they'll play their way out. Coakley looks to me like he's fouling his man off the ball. The referee spotted that from a long way out. Clever play by Simon Kennefick. He went after it. He knew he had the foul coming, and it's a free for Glen Rovers.
Forward will always get that decision, but I don't know. I think there was a bit 50-50 there.
He's limping heavy, alright, isn't he?
He's limping badly, alright. That'll be sore tonight and tomorrow. Might put a bit of Bulmers on it or something like that.
There's no drinking, are we? Few cans of Red Bull.
Or another unnamed product. Horgan.
Credit Brian Moylan there again, just sweeping up. He's brilliant at that, sweeping back. Absolutely.
Number 7 there.
It's 4 between them.
Down and Downey again. I don't know, lads.
2 minutes to go. 5 minutes allotted. We will have more time if there's any stoppages in this injury time. David Dooling couldn't quite get his hand on it too. He's swept up by James O'Carroll. James O'Carroll goes long. This is something that Erins own have done well tonight. That looks to me like it's a free. Referee says play on. Kieran Murphy thinks he was fouled. Glen Rovers get on with it. Tynan.
This is what he's good at.
Lovely dart from Tynan. Tynan has a look up. He's looking for his second and a point that will surely seal this one. And he hasn't got it. Erins own, as we say, not giving up. Attempting to swing on that one in the air was O'Carroll. Well picked up by Robbie O'Flynn. James O'Carroll.
That's a good ball.
1-on-1 inside. Falls to Hickey. Kieran Murphy couldn't get anything on it. He slots it out to Brian Moylan. Moylan will take his time here. Closed down by Cathal Lenihan. 2-on-2 inside because Erins own had to commit numbers forward. Oh, that's a lucky bounce. Comes to David Cunningham. Got his pass wrong. Horgan might still make something of this one. Just gets away from him. It's Cian O'Connor who picks it up.
Paddy should have taken his own score. He was too obsessed with getting it to Hoggy there, you know. 1 point, are they 3 up, is it?
I don't think anyone will blame a forward for that. That's a good catch by Cathal Lenihan. Lenihan with the hand pass inside.
Trouble here.
They haven't given up. They've got the free.
Top class defending, to be fair to him. Drag him down.
You give that one the seal of approval.
Oh, you'd have to. To be fair, he had no choice. We got in, like, you know. Bring in the black art to hurling, huh?
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the first games, wasn't it, the keeper?
That's right.
Blackrock keeper.
Towards the end, that's right. The lad Boylan, I think, for UCC, was it? Yeah.
Well, Erins own have done something that not many people thought they would, and that is challenge Glen Rovers right to the end. Robbie O'Flynn standing over this one. They need a goal and a point, so he might as well take the point while the chance is there, and now they need a goal. But do they have time?
Must be close, O'Shea.
Well, this championship has brightened things up on Leeside at a dark time. It's particularly bright for Glen Rovers tonight because they are on their way back to the final. The final score, Glen Rovers 22 points, Erins own 3-9, and Shawnee McGrath, as you're a Glen's man, I have to go to you first for your reaction.
Look, it's fantastic. I just said earlier, like, it's going to be a brilliant final, please God, between the Glen and Blackrock. They haven't met in a long time. And the Glen were made battle all the way to the end, and Ronan referenced it a good few times about the lack of match stuff and the layoff maybe going into it. You couldn't have a better preparation going into a county final now than a complete dogfight like this. They stood up when they needed to. They were 6 points down at one stage and they hung in there at half time. They were 5 points down, and even when they kind of got themselves into a position where they went ahead in the second half, Erin's own goal just before the water break from Robbie Flynn put them again in a position where they were 2 points up, and again the Glen acquitted themselves well, settled down, gave good ball in, brought players out and retreated. When they did that, then they gave good ball into Simon, who won a good free at one stage. So all in all, it was a good, decent performance. I don't think Richie would be overly impressed with aspects of play, and he'll have plenty to work on during the week, but a win is a win. It's a county semi-final, and it's about winning a semi-final and getting to a final, and that's exactly what they've done tonight.
A word about Erin's own, because they battled incredibly hard here. Once again, they weren't the favourites, but they almost upset the odds.
Yeah, they did it very well. I mean, especially when you look at the fellas they lost before the game and throughout the game. You know, you're looking at Shane Murphy, James O'Flynn, Stephen Cronin, three of your 6 defenders. They're really good defenders. Like, you know, they lost Owen Murphy at half time, and Alan Bowen had to go off as well. And they still hung in there. Like, you know, I know it's 22 scores to 13 or whatever. Like, you know. I personally don't think the Glen were that good today, you know, but that's a great way to go into a final. You have loads to work on, you know, they'll be eager for it. Blackrock had a great performance there after kind of sweeping the way through the championship. Like, I don't know, it'll be favourites, it'll be fairly tight, like, but Erin's own can be proud of themselves, like, because, you know, I think they were in a bit of bonus territory today. They weren't really expecting to get that far this year, I don't think, at the start of the year, and they've done well. As I said, they could have nicked this in the end. They had a goal chance there with a few minutes to go, and if you got that, you wouldn't know.
And they'd be really disappointed tonight, because this is a game that they could have won. But what did Glen Rovers do in the second half that they didn't do in the first half? Because they have got through because of their second half performance. Yeah,
the work rate just went through the roof. Patrick continued to impress, got his frees, got a few from play. Simon came into the game a little bit more. And look, I think the substitutions probably just shook things up a little bit. The two boys, they didn't do anything spectacular. No, they didn't go off and get 4 or 5 points a man. But again, they just worked hard. They won the aerial battles. They gave a couple of good crossfield balls. And they probably got the half-back line from Erin's own thinking a little bit more. And your half-back line, as we all know, is the launch pad for your forward attack. And they just weren't bombing those balls up like they were in the first half. The amount of ball that Erin's own for forwards were getting in the first half versus the second half, no comparison whatsoever. And a lot of that is to do maybe with the work rate that Mark Dooley and Paddy brought to be
great for training as well, Sean. You want to, when you have 2 lads who come in and do well, like, you know, in comparison to 2 lads who came off, like, you know, so
David Cunningham, Paddy as he's called in Glen Rovers, did incredibly well, didn't he? And Dale Tynan got a couple of points. Those switches, they really did make an impact, didn't they? So credit Richie Keller for that.
Yeah, they made a big difference. To be fair, I think all lads know Paddy isn't going to last the full game at this stage, but he's, you know, he'll battle to the end. Like, you know, he'll give you a great 20 minutes. You know, he'll fight for everything. Might win a few balls. He's been known to pop up with goals. So he's a big addition when he comes on to bring on someone like that, especially when it gets towards the end and you need an out ball and stuff like that. Like, but their work rate went through the roof. Robert Downey and Moylan picked up a world of ball. Adam Lynch was very good there for a good bit of the second half, and you know, the second half was much improved. They got a lot more space in front of their full forward line as well. I think they dragged their half forward line out the pitch a bit more and got that space inside, and that's what suits the Glen. Like, you know, the ball in the first half, there just seemed to be no pattern to it, you know, so they got the grips with it in the second half, as we thought they would from the start of the game, you know.
If you're Blackrock and you're watching this game, did you see anything from what Erin's own did that you might implement against Glen Rovers, or do you have to write it off because Glen Rovers were so long without a game coming into this? And look, obviously different games are different games.
Yeah, I think Blackrock will look after their own house. You know, obviously you have to strategise and look at the key players like Patrick Horgan and that, and Brian Moylan, as Ronan said, mopping up. You can't let that happen. But Erin's own Blackrock pound for pound are as good as what's out there. In a weird way, they're probably a little bit more balanced than the Glen in some ways. They mightn't have the stars like Patrick Horgan, but they've got very, very good players. Tyke Deasy came on and got a couple of great scores. Michael O'Halloran is a very, very good forward. And they work extremely hard. And a fellow I've been impressed with is Alan Connolly. That was his 5th goal today. He's got a goal in every single championship game so far, which is a great return. And he got a point to level it at a time when the game was up. It was the last score of the game, really, that brought extra time. Showed unbelievable composure. He was only a minor 2 years ago, and then got a great ball where he won his own ball in the air. So, on paper, looking at their own game plan, Blackrock will see themselves as every bit as good and capable of beating the Glen. Obviously, then, look, they'll do a bit of homework on the Glen team, as much as the Glen will do homework on the Blackrock team, but I'm not sure if tonight has much of a bearing on it. They'll know the Glen inside out. They've seen all these players over the last number of years, and they'll know their plus.
I think they
and
played a
minuses.
good challenge today during the year. Like it was a tight one, and there was there was a bit of bite in it as well. Like so, like they know each other well. Like which brings an extra bit to it.
Well, it looked good for Erins Own at half time. They were leading by 6 to 7 points, but after the break, Glen Rovers scored 6 points without reply. 4 of those from Pa Horgan, as you might expect. The sides were level for the first time since the 7th minute when Horgan scored his 4th from play. That after 39 minutes. David Noonan's point put Glen Rovers ahead for the first time in the game on 42 minutes. Robbie O'Flynn with the goal for Erins Own just before the water break restored their 2-point lead. But after the water break, another 8 points for Glen Rovers against 3 for Erins Own is what saw them home. But again, it's decided on fine margins, isn't it? Had Lenihan buried that chance at the end, who knows? We could still be commentating on the game because we might have gone to extra time.
Yeah, definitely. It was very, very tight. Look, I think, as Ronan said, 22 versus 12, 3-9 gives you 18 or whatever. They got 3-10 in the end, was it? But, there was a good bit of a difference in the number of scorers, the ratio of scoring. And the Glen will be disappointed, I think, with the attack that they didn't score more. But they must be happy with the return from the likes of Donald Cronin and Dave Noonan. 4 points, 2 points each between them. Whereas Erins Own didn't get much change from that area, say that half back line and midfield from a scoring point of view. So 4 points from Noonan and Donald Cronin will have been a right fillip for Richie.
Just before we go, Ronan, is Richie Kelleher's job kind of done for him, essentially, before the final, in a sense that the players will know they didn't hit their peak tonight and that they need to raise it for the final? And they don't need to be told that. They're smart guys. They're experienced in the main part. They'll know.
Yeah, well, it definitely makes it easier. There'll be talks up in the Glen now that we weren't great. We didn't have a great game. We just got over the line. We'll have to improve if we're going to beat Blackrock. And as you said, that makes his job a whole lot easier. They'll be fighting for places in the team as well, because a few fellas were taken off. Conor Doris won't be happy taking off, and a few of the lads so
you'll have a bit of bite in training in the lead up, which is exactly what you want, I imagine.
But also on the other side of it, they have the experience. They were at four county finals, I think, in the last 10 years or something like that. So they're well used to the big day and how to prepare for it as well. Which Blackrock were in one, I think. So it's going to be a great final. Hard for a Barsman to watch, but it's going to be a good final.
Well, look, you're used to it at this stage.
One of mine we're getting there.
You're getting there, in fairness to you. And Jer Cunningham's son, a star forward. Who would have thought that?
Some player.
What about that final? How important is it that both teams actually are quite experienced at final grade at this stage? Because as Ronan has just said, Glen Rovers were in the final last year. They've been in a couple of finals in recent years, won it in 2015, 2016. Blackrock, while they haven't won it since 2002, they have been in a final in recent years, and they have been sweeping the boards at underage grades, so they're experienced in that sense.
12 and 16 they contested every under 21 county final. They won 2 or 3 of them, and they have a brilliant manager, a brilliant defender, and as they myself run well, Fergal Ryan, John Brown is there. They're teak tough, and they have multiple counties. They know as a management group how to prepare a team. But they played. They could have beaten Imo Kelly in that 17 final. Their marquee players, their top players, are playing really, really well. They all scored heavily today. Niall Cashman got a really inspirational score when they needed in the second half. He went on a long solo run and off his left, off the run without catching it through it over the bar. So their key players are playing well. They came through the league stuff unscathed. They came through it easily enough. They beat a really, really good Douglas team who I saw here against Middleton. And I fancied Douglas after that game to go all the way, but Blackrocks, they made it tight and they put him to bed nice and easily. Not easily, but they gave him a right game and won it in the end. So, and there's a couple of players on the Blackrock side, maybe Michael Halloran, who might be a little bit disappointed with his performance today and was taken off. You can imagine him now in training and bursting at the bit during the week to get his form back.
But they've different fellas going well each day, like Michael Halloran last day. Ty Deasy was very good. They have a lot of good forwards, and the big thing with Blackrock is they're fierce physical. Massively physical team, and that mightn't suit some of the Glen lads, some will, but some of the young fellas there,
and that's why tonight's game is kind of important as a prep for that final, because they got that physical challenge tonight, and that'll prepare them even more for it, won't it?
Yeah, but
does one game bring you on that much, though?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the championship pace. I don't know when the game is down for. Is it 2 weeks? Is it, or
the final is next week?
Is it next week? Is it? Yeah. So that's the thing now as well. Getting the bodies right, getting the recovery right. But I will say Blackrock are even more physical than Erins Own. That's what they're known for. But they have a good plan. They play to a good system. They're a very, very solid team.
Okay, and just before I let you go, gentlemen, of course, Cork will open up against Waterford in the Munster Senior Hurling Championship on Halloween weekend. How good is it for Kieran Kingston, Shawnee, that he's got players, and lots of them, in form going into that game? Because lots of the players that you'd want to be playing well from a Cork point of view are showing well for their clubs.
They are. I suppose what you'll be hoping as well, in addition to that, is what other players are hovering around there that maybe are on the panel or on the outside panel that might come in. I suppose the top players so far in the championship, from scoring stakes, from scoring point of view, from play, they've been Patrick Horgan, Shane Kingston, Conor Lehan. He has his detractors, but he's still after getting something like 211 from play in championship hurling in 4 games, which is fair shooting. But the top player has been Alan Cadigan. He got 118 from play, which is unbelievable shooting. So they're your 4 top attackers. I suppose the worry is Shimmy Harity is still nursing an injury. I only met Shimmy by chance walking the marina here the last day, and he was 2 or 3 hours here trying to get his hamstring right. With only a month to go at the championship, you'll be hoping Shimmy gets his form back.
Especially the way he plays.
Not his form, but his injury back.
The injection of pace that he puts in.
He's a huge player for Cork. I mean, his goals, his ability to bring other players into it, his scoring ability. He's a huge player. That's 5 players. So who's on the edges that might challenge? I don't know. Decky Dalton, Padraig Power is going well with UCC and Blair, and Shane Barrett. So there's other fellas out there. So, but definitely from a starting point of view, most of his key players are playing well.
Yeah, I suppose the few big things for Cork this year is one, it's winter hurling. It'll be that bit more dogged. You look at the forwards and you say, who are we going to bring in there? We can't have all the similar lads around there. We've some beautiful forwards. They're brilliant players. But is there space for Tim O'Mahony or someone like that? Just to start winning a bit of ball in there, and then to sort out the back line. Where's Downey going to play? Is he going to be centre back? Is he going to be full back? Who are those 2 spots? Who are in the corners? A lot of decisions in the back line. And the one thing I'll say with Cork over the last few years, I don't think the back line really played as a unit. You got to play as a unit, and this year they don't have the time to get it ready. So the next few weeks for Kieran and the lads are going to be big, just to get a bit of a bond between them and a bit of a blend, and playing as a unit, I think, is the main thing.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there for this evening, lads. A crisp night in Cork, but a entertaining one here at Páirc Uí Chaoimh under the lights. Glen Rovers getting back into the final. They got there last year. They'll want to go one better. They won't face Immokalee, obviously, in the final this time around. Immokalee knocked out a couple of weeks ago. They will play Blackrock, and that has the potential to be a belter. 22 points to 3-9, the final score of this one. Glen Rovers beating Erins own, and as Ronan Curran and Shawnee McGrath have been telling you, it was kind of the ideal way to win a semi-final. Not a perfect performance, things to work on, but the important thing is they got the result, and that's what they needed. Gentlemen, my thanks to you both. We're back tomorrow on the Irish Examiner with the Cork Senior Camogie final live. That'll be a good one between Inniscarra and Corsie Rovers. That's underway at 3 o'clock then. I think it's at 7:30 is the throw-in for the Senior Football Championship semi-final. Nemo Rangers involved there. From me and all the team from here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, it is good night. The final score is Glen Rovers 22 points, Erins own 310. And I suppose it goes to show that goals don't always win games, but certainly Glen Rovers did enough to get the victory. My thanks to you for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.